In Mundimba, chief town of Ndian Division, the military parade from the 22nd Marine Battalion, Bafuma, the National Gendarmerie and the police, under the watchful eyes of the senior divisional officer, assured the population of government determination to protect the people and their properties. Gilbert Badena appreciated the local authorities for a positive mobilization.
We are very proud of the people of Mundimba. They come out massively beside the forces of defense and security to celebrate in unison our common history, our unity, and the virtue of our living together.
The mayor, Osang Okene Samuel, says, thanks to the administration leading the defense and security, Ndian Division is gradually having some relative peace.
Probably that signals the fact that peace is steadily returning to the map, especially with the laying down of arms of about 19 separatists. I think fear is already leaving the minds of the population, and the population is now ready to come out from the hideouts.
Medals of different categories were awarded to some persons for their relentless effort in saving the state of Cameroon. The 2023 National Day celebrations in the entire Ndian Division was marked with celebrations as the population now enjoyed a certain degree of relative peace.
And now from Mundimba we move down to Equinoxe, where despite separatist threats, some few persons came out to celebrate May 20 in that area. Davidson Maimo, you were in Mundimba and you told us that it was also amidst very tight security.
Despite the unconducive atmosphere that has characterized the Equinoxe subdivision for over 5 years, due to the ongoing Anglophone crisis.
Crisis has affected Equinoxe so badly. Oh yeah, their livelihood depends solely on agriculture. As they cannot go to their farm, it has made them to become so poor and wretched.
Anything you want to do, have to first of all take precautions. So I really wish that peace should return. So we are calling on the head of state to do something so that peace should return back to our country.
For the first time, celebrations marking Cameroon National Day took place hitch-free with the full participation of the population.
Sometimes now we have not been able to celebrate the National Day because of the crisis.
Not been able to actually come together as a people because of the fear that reigns.
The National Day of today should be the best for the past 4 years that I have been here in Equinoxe.
The display from the commandos of the 21st Marine Battalion, Bafuma, was an indication of how combat ready they are in protecting the territory, hence instilling confidence, trust and hope to the population.
So Equinoxe, we can come now and we sleep and relax without any stress.
Apart from schools, social groups, local authorities were overwhelmed to see the participation of commercial motorbike riders.
Due to the security put in place, this year it was special. The population overcoming the fear that they had. You see, you have people all over under the trees to witness this event.
The population is tired staying home. The population is now fear-free. Peace is coming gradually.
The National Day celebrations provided an opportunity for Honorable Njume Peter to officially support some internally displaced women from Dikume Balwe subdivision under his constituency.
This crisis has caused a lot of displacement, internal displacement. And those who suffer more are the women. They are very hardworking women, but they need support. That is why I had to give them this financial assistance.
For Equinoxe Television, in Equinoxe subdivision, Ndian Division of the Southwest region, I am Davidson Maimo.
Thank you, Davidson, for that report. Now we talk something else. The consumption of hard drugs by students in the school milieu is said to be increasing in some educational institutions across the national territory. Most of these drugs, which have been smuggled into schools without the consent of the school authorities, have led to an increase in crime waves. And to fight against the consumption in Banjok, security officials held a sensitization campaign. The campaign brought together students, parents of that locality. Lucy Diengu is here to tell us more.
For some time now, school authorities have noticed the consumption of hard drugs by students. Most times, these drugs are being smuggled into schools. This is the case of Banjok in the Upper Sanaga division of the Central region. These drugs have exposed the youth to mental health problems, misconduct, and incivility. To fight against its consumption, the commander of the Banjok Gendarmerie Brigade in a meeting has sensitized the youth on the dangers associated with consuming narcotics.
Déjà, nous remarquons une chose, au niveau scolaire, le niveau d'agression a été
In school milieu, the consumption of drugs have increased. Students consuming these drugs are involved in fights, quarrels with their teachers or classmates. The population is made up of youth, thus increasing crime waves.
À cause des ravages des actes causés sur l'emprise de la consommation des drogues.
The sensitization meeting was part of activities marking the 51st celebration of the Unity Day in the country. The use of these drugs, according to a psychologist, Angel Zebaze, causes an alteration of memory, intelligence, and language.
On peut noter premièrement une altération des fonctions psychologiques telles que la mémoire, l'intelligence, le langage, la sensation et la perception. On peut également noter les troubles psychologiques tels que la schizophrénie, le trouble de l'humeur.
Security officials of Banjok say they have as objective to completely eradicate the consumption of these illicit drugs in school milieu and also in the region.
And now we move on to this very interesting element in the north region of the country, where there was panic as well as excitement in Marwa, precisely at Dosungo, a locality in Marwa 1, after some elephants, about 4 of them, strayed out from the Waza Park into some localities. Though excited, the stray elephants reportedly killed at least one person in Marwa, the locality called Gogum. The woman attempted to touch an elephant's tail. Wildlife officials in Marwa, however, succeeded taking back the animals to the Waza Park where they came from. We will sure be coming back to such elements that would be in our subsequent editions, precisely that would be at 8 p.m. And now we talk something else. We are talking about the visit of the Minister for Public Works, Emmanuel Ganun Jumese, who visited the east entrance into Douala, where construction works are going on. He gave a deadline of January 2024 for the construction companies to complete that works. We have more with Immaculate Fogui.
It's been 5 years, yet road construction work along the east entry into the city of Douala is yet to be completed. The works on the over 10-kilometer stretch of road, which began in 2018, was expected to be completed in 2000. Another major stretch where the pace of work is still very slow is on the Douala-Bunepupa 32-kilometer stretch of road. Visiting the site, the Minister of Public Works, Gano Jumesi, faces the reality.
Very, very unfortunate that we are facing a situation in which you have a company mobilized in a section of the road, not this section of the road, Douala-Bunepupa, who has equipment but no human resources. The payment has been done in his favor. I would like to recognize that there are still some areas, but less than 500 million. So I have decided to withdraw the contracts so that...
The minister, however, applauds the efforts made by the company managing the project on the east entry into the city of Douala.
I'm satisfied. The company Mark has mobilized himself properly. Majil is doing his best. They are working very hard. Mark, Aegis, Majil, they are forming a very, very, very good team. The infrastructure could be delivered before even the delay.
Thank you very much, sir.
However, the satisfaction of the minister contrasts the view of the local populations. Our houses were demolished more than 5 years ago under the grounds that a road will be constructed. Look at the road, no improvement, works are still on standstill. We are suffering, the road is bad. Students face challenges while going to school. During the rainy season, the area is muddy, and during the dry season, the road becomes dusty. We are tired of this endless suffering. Minister Ganu Jumesi says works on the east entry into the city of Douala is at 80% completion rate. He assures the population that works will be done come January 2024.
The largest oil refinery of the African continent has been inaugurated in Lekki, Lagos of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The infrastructure that has a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day was inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria in the presence of several other African leaders. For me, Armstrong Sanda tells us more.
Half a dozen African heads of state made the trip to Nigeria. Senegalese Macky Sall, Togolese Foreign Assembly Nana Akufo-Addo from Ghana, and Muhammadu Bazoum from Niger. A remarkable presence of African leaders that speaks volume on the dimension of the event. Here at the Lekki Free Zone near Lagos, Nigeria's economic capital city, Muhammadu Buhari, who will be handing over to his successor at the Aso Rock in few days, declared inaugurated the largest refinery on the African continent. With a capacity of 650,000 barrels per day, the infrastructure will meet local needs in petroleum products estimated at some 450,000 barrels per day and pave the way for the export of fuel in Africa and around the world. In addition to fuel, diesel, kerosene and aviation fuel, the stakes are high for Nigeria, standing to put an end to an age-old paradox. Although the world's chief crude oil exporter, the country imported almost all of its consumption because of the absence of a functional refinery. The project, which started in 2017 and later delayed, cost some $19 billion. The inauguration of this May 22, 2023 is merely symbolic, as the actual commissioning will take place next July to operate in addition at the end of 2024. The billionaire and owner Aliko Dangote, popular in the cement and fertilizer sector, has associated the National Oil Company of Nigeria, which holds some 20% shares in the infrastructure.
And now we take you out of our national frontiers. In Senegal, a Senegalese prosecutor is now asking for a 10-year jail term against the opposition leader Ousmane Sonko on a rape case that has sparked tensions in the West African country. And in Tunisia, families of detained opposition leaders such as Yousra head to the African court. More on our foreign page news roundup with Mala Glory.
Senegalese prosecutor is now calling for a 10-year jail term against the opposition leader Ousmane Sonko on a rape case that has sparked tension in the West African country. Highly popular among young people, Sonko has branded the trial a political plot aimed at blocking his way for the 2024 presidency. The trial was adjourned early Wednesday, with a decision expected to be handed down on June 1st, according to the president of the criminal court, after the latest hearing lasted into the early hours of Wednesday. And over to Tunisia, where Yousra Gannouchi, who is the daughter of jailed Tunisia's opposition leader Raj Gannouchi, has condemned her father's arrest, citing gross human rights violation by the current regime of President Kais Saied. alongside other family members of Tunisian opposition figures detained in government crackdown. She is seeking immediate release of her loved ones with a case brought to the African Court on Human and People's Rights. Ganauchi, 81, has been imprisoned since April 17 after claiming that Tunisia will be threatened with a civil war if left-wing parties or those of the political Islams were eliminated. Since early February, the authorities have arrested more than 20 political opponents and other personalities, an act that has been condemned by the international community and rights groups. Reports of harassment to the lawyers representing the victims have been echoed by the affected parties, with the detainees allegedly tortured. After dismantling the institutional edifice put in place by the semi-parliamentary constitution of 2014, Said ushered his country into the era of hyper-presidentialism.
And now we talk sports. We talk about the most recent outing of Abubakar Vincent, the captain of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, saying the team still needs Andre Onana in the national team, but Onana should upgrade his attitude. Vincent Abubakar was speaking in a televised program known as Droit dans les yeux, presented by Diomansi Camera. Smart Jikan Gabriel comes back to some high points of that interview.
During the program Droit dans les yeux on Canal Plus Sport, hosted by Diomansi Camera, Cameroon's football team captain Vincent Abubakar came back on some key issues disturbing the national team and those who are controlling football in Cameroon. Vincent Abubakar says he was so disappointed that they didn't win the Nations Cup that took place in Cameroon recently.
Honestly,
there is total disappointment. You saw how we played, but what man proposes, God disposes. When we played against the Gambia, I said the next match should be on collective game, but you saw for yourself that everyone wanted to be the hero. The results were clear. Many people were frustrated. In 2017, we had the war in Cameroon, but we won the cup and things changed. I was so frustrated during the last AFCON on home soil. The incident between Andre Onana and Rigobert Song-Banak was also discussed in the course of Droit dans les yeux, and for Vincent Abubakar, his younger brother Andre Onana should put his shoulders down. I think Andre Onana lacked respect for the coach. Not everything you need that you have in life. Sometimes you find yourself in a place where all is well, but in other areas you need to fight to have your position. But today, Andre Onana needs to know that he has to fight for his position. No matter who is at the helm, he needs to keep a low profile, and that's when he will grow. I'm not against, but the young man has to come back. Cameroon is in need of him. He's a big goalkeeper. He has a lot of things ahead of him.
C'est juste qu'il y a des passages comme ça dans la vie, il y a des passages comme ça dans la vie, mais si il parvient à prendre ça, je pense qu'il va mieux grandir.
The running of things at the level of Cameroon Football Federation, FECAFOOT, was also a talking point during the program. Indomitable Lions captain believes the FA president does not have the right people around him to guide him through. Our FA president wants to make things better and for things to move forward, but I think that he is not having the right people around him. He needs to have competent people around him to make things change. He needs to bring people with the same vision like him. Many Cameroonians see the outing of Vincent Abubakar has come to show how the football house of Cameroon is in serious cacophony.
Réellement la Coupe du Monde. On arrive à l'entraînement, on fait la mise en place.
And viewers, that does it for the first part of the news. Talking Points comes up next. You don't go anywhere. Stay with us. Welcome back, viewers. Our guest tonight is Ketong Anderson Konge. He is the Senior Divisional Officer for the Ngo Ketunja Division of the Northwest region of the country. Mr. Ezio, thank you so much for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. You control one of the areas which is badly hit by the Anglophone crisis, the Ngo Ketunja, with the headquarters being Dop. In your area, recently, a bike rider was killed reportedly by armed separatists, and his death was linked to the celebration of the May 20, the National Day in Ndop. Can you tell us how your population seems to be very much affected by the Anglophone crisis? How can you evaluate? That?
Of these terrorists is the population, who remain the #1 victim of all the atrocities that they have committed for more than 6 years. You may like that I remind you of the fact that a lot of money and property worth more than 3 times the budget of the Republic of Cameroon in terms of billions have been extorted by these armed bandits calling themselves Amazonians for the past 6 years. And as of today, I want to challenge whoever is ready to answer me. The balance sheet of all what they have collected, where is the balance sheet? How was it used? Have they really account to the population? And where did the money come from? From this same population. So in effect, we are saying here that the victim of this movement is the population. And you will understand that before engaging in this war, these are all individuals who came from various ends and arrogated to themselves to fight a war of liberation. They did not consult the population. And even when they went to fight the war, they have been fighting the war, and the war has been what? Confrontations between them.
And now, Mr. Ezio, you seem to be very certain that the population is really affected. Can you explain those instances which show that the population is actually the target?
Because the target is not to liberate this population, but to put them further in bondage. Their war is not against La République or the Republic of Cameroon and the forces of law and order, the regular forces of law and order, and of course, the French forces of law and order. But it is a population which is being targeted, my dear journalists. Each time you hear there is destruction of a school, hospital, or destruction of somebody's house, just know that the act has been committed by the people that you know and on the same population. Each time you hear that somebody has been kidnapped, it is a population being kidnapped, and by the same people. Each time you hear that there is lockdown, there is restriction of movement against all forms of daily activities, on this, it is still on this very population. And how do they go about it? They use the barrel of the gun, impose whatever they want to impose on the population, and everybody is bound to respect it.
And now, Mr. Ezio, local administrators are always telling the population to collaborate with security forces, which is not very evident for them. Now, what kind of collaboration are you expecting from the people?
By discreetly furnishing the defense and security forces and even the administrative forces with information, vital information that can get these armed bandits from their hideouts. And what we are saying here is that the population must act not only discreetly, they must act collectively for fear of being victimizing individuals. And not only should they act collectively, but they should act in a timely manner urgently in such a way that the information they give tie up with the circumstances which is current. You don't give information which is already docile, which is already outdated, that cannot be exploited.
Mr. SDO, let's talk practically or concretely, what should the people do in this collaboration you're talking about? Because they themselves are living in fear.
Everybody within the community must know his neighbor, his or her neighbor. You cannot be pretending to be living with people and you don't know them. Because what we have discovered is that these armed gangs are using the community as a shield, and they use it as their hideout, and they have their camps inside this community. And when they attack the forces of law and others who are passing, the population always suffers, because these forces of law and order will always act in self-defense, which will lead to collateral destruction.
And now, Mr. SDO, we know that educational institutions or schools, those institutions or health facilities too, are badly hit or affected by the crisis. What's the situation in your area when it comes to the attack on schools? We just know that recently we just finished with a common entrance and also the practicals for the first school living certificate. What was the situation, or what is the situation at the level of educational institutions in the Ngo-Ketunjia division of the Northwest region?
Which is current that I can give is just the fact that for this year, the common entrance results have just been released for technical and general examination in Cameroon. And you may be surprised that despite all the challenges, Ngo-Ketunjia division has emerged as first in terms of performance in the whole Northwest, which is an eye-opener to those who have been escaping and going away out of the division to go and register their children elsewhere. You might note that unlike just the number of registered candidates this year for this government common entrance examination more than tripled as compared to last year.
Thank you so much, Mr. Senior Divisional Officer Ketong Anderson Konge. You are the SEO for the Ngo-Ketunjia division of the Northwest region. Like I earlier said, one of the areas badly hit by the 6-year-old armed conflict in the Northwest and Southwest regions. Hope to have you some other time. Thank you so much for your time. And viewers, we thank you so much for always being there. As usual, the school where our programs continue, Serge Alengoto would be here in about 30 minutes or so for Equinoxe, and the news in the French language with Nadine Yambo comes up at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television. Bye-bye for now.